Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Priscilla Obasi. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channels 276. You can also download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. Now the news in details. Key cultural figures and government officials have commended President Bola Tinubu's administration for its growing emphasis on culture as a tool for national identity, unity, and international relations. The commendations came during a press conference organized by the National Institute for Cultural Orientation at the Brazilian Consulate in Lagos, part of preparations for the forthcoming World Orisha Congress and Nigeria-Brazil Cultural Exchange. His Imperial Majesty Oni Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi Ojaja II, Oni of Ife and global patron of World Orisha Congress and Nigeria, praised the president for fostering a climate that supports cultural and traditional institutions. The House of Representatives have rejected a constitutional amendment bill seeking to rotate the office of the president and vice president among the 6 geopolitical zones in the country. The House had, at the commencement of debate, set aside its rules to allow it take the constitutional alteration bills simultaneously, while allowing members to choose any of the 7 listed on which they wish to debate on. In addition, the House rejected 6 other constitutional alterations bills listed in the other paper of the House of Consideration. President Bola Tinubu has sworn in 2 newly appointed commissioners of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, as its chairman. Mahmood Yakubu dismissed widespread speculations that he had been removed from office. Speaking with the State House correspondent shortly after the Federal Executive Council meeting, FEC, at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, Yakubu affirmed his position and clarified that no such action had been taken by the president. Kikelomo Okere completes the story.
The Independent National Electoral Commission Chairman Mahmood Yakubu revealed that the Commission had forwarded 142 recommendations to the National Assembly as part of ongoing efforts to reform Nigerian electoral process. Following its internal review of 2023 general elections, Yakubu expressed satisfaction with lawmakers' response and pace of action.
Weeks ago, we had a retreat in Lagos with the Joint Committee of the Senate and House of Representatives on Electoral Reform. Thereafter, the National Assembly is going to organize a public hearing, and it's after the public hearing that now a new bill will at the end of the day be submitted to the President for assent. So we're working with the National Assembly on electoral reform. But
the submission of recommendation and continued legislative engagement, Yakubu says, were part of the Commission's commitment to ensuring more credible and transparent election in the future. Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News.
The Nigerian Defense Academy, NDA, has announced the screening process for the 2025 admission cycle for the 77 regular course on May 24. The Academy's Public Relations Officer, Major Muhammad Maidawa, announced in a statement in Kaduna. Maidawa said the Academy wishes to inform the public and specifically all applicants of the 77 regular course that the screening process for the 2025 admission cycle is underway. Governor Dauda Lawal has flagged off the distribution of debit card for the beneficiaries of the World Bank Finance Cash Transfer Scheme. The flag-off ceremony held at Safe Local Government Secretariat marks the beginning of a major intervention aimed at lifting the poor and vulnerable across Zamfara State out of extreme poverty. Salma Odi completes the story. The National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives has enjoined nurses in the country to tackle the issues of negligence and attitudes in patient care. President of the association, Comrade Haruna Mamman, gave the advice in Abuja during the commemoration of the 2025 International Day of the Midwife and the flag-off of the 2026 International Nurses Week celebration. The theme of this year's commemoration is Our Nurses, Our Future. Caring for nurses strengthens economies. Mamman said the association is dedicated to driving initiatives that promote professionalism, continuing education, and ethical standards within its ranks. The All Progressives Congress, APC, in Kebbi State has suspended former member of the House of Representatives for Koko Mayama Federal Constituency, Muhammad Shehu Koko, and 9 party officials in Koko local government area. According to the suspension letter jointly signed by the APC local government party chairman, Muhammad Barbaga, the local government executive chairman, Sirajo Usman Koko, and 14 other stakeholders of the party in the area, stated the action was due to alleged anti-party activities, disloyalty, and harassment of the party's executive members. Managing Director of the Rural Electrification Agency, REA, Abba Aliyu, says 80 million Nigerians lack access to electricity. Speaking during the Huawei Day 2025 Nigeria, Aliyu noted that the agency is expected to provide stable power to 17.5 million residents, 237,000 micro, small and medium enterprises, and 30,030 state-owned hospitals. Head of Huawei Digital Power Nigeria, Cruz Ni, stated that the company will continue collaborating with partners to advance Nigeria's energy transition, bringing stable, green, and sustainable power to more rural communities. You are watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. When News Cycle returns, UN faces their financial strain. Guterres calls for urgent reforms. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of the break. Please stay tuned. You're welcome back. Now we go to the business news. The World Bank has described Nigeria's 2025 federal budget as overly ambitious, warning that the federal government may be forced to take to the Central Bank of Nigeria's ways and means facilities to finance likely revenue shortfalls. The bank gave this warning during the public presentation of its latest Nigeria Development Update report titled Building Momentum for Inclusive Growth in Abuja. President Bola Tinubu signed the 2025 Appropriation Act into law, approving a record budget of 54.99 trillion naira, the highest in Nigeria's history. And still on business news, in another development, the World Bank has queried the remittance of the proceeds of the petroleum subsidy removal by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL. President Bola Tinubu announced the removal of petrol subsidy. The policy was projected to save the federal government billions of dollars annually. The petrol subsidy removal, as justified by the government, was expected to free up funds for critical infrastructure and social programs. The Nigerian currency oscillated between the 1,620.25 naira per dollar support line in the unofficial market amid the resurgence of dollar in the global financial markets. Naira's depreciation was driven by demand-side concerns, with individuals and businesses rushing to buy dollars to meet the necessities and import obligations. However, recent fundamentals in Nigeria's oil industry paint a bright prospect for the Naira. In a move that could send shockwaves through immigrant communities, lawmakers in the United States have introduced a draft bill proposing a 5% excise tax on all remittance sent abroad. The bill, unveiled by House of Republicans, targets financial transfers from U.S. residents to recipients in foreign countries. While it broadly affects immigrant families, the proposed tax poses a challenge for Nigeria, a country heavily dependent on funds sent by its diaspora. And on the foreign scene, Donald Trump has met with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman as he begins his first major diplomatic trip of his second term. The U.S. president is hoping to secure significant new investment in the U.S. in the 4-day trip to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE. Still on the foreign news, the United Nations says it is undergoing their financial strains amid growing global challenges, Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said. Guterres, while briefing member states in New York about the state of the multilateral body, pushed for wide-ranging structural reforms to cut costs and enhance the world's body effectiveness. According to information provided by the UN, Controller to the General Assembly Fifth Committee, Administrative and Budgetary, only $1.8 billion had been received against the $3.5 billion regular budget assessment for 2025. And now in sports, Nigeria's top-ranked table tennis star, Quadri Aruna, will lead the country's charge at the 2025 ITTF World Championship Finals in Doha, Qatar, as the continent continues its quest for a historic first medal at the prestigious event. The tournament is scheduled to take place from May 16 to 25, with Nigerian athletes set to compete across singles and double events in both men and women's categories. Still on sports, the Super Falcons of Nigeria will face the indomitable Lioness of Cameroon in high-profile international friendly scheduled to hold across 2 venues in Ogun State, following a strategic partnership between the Nigeria Football Federation and the state government. The Federation President Ibrahim Gusau, the matches are part of broader efforts to decentralize top-level football events and strengthen the country's football economy through greater collaboration with the state government. The first match will be played at the Remo Star Stadium in Kenne on Saturday, May 31st, while the return leg will take place at the recently upgraded MKO Abiola Sports Complex in Abeokuta on Tuesday, June 3rd. Real Madrid are actively exploring defensive reinforcement ahead of the new season, with centre-backs Dean Houston, William Saliba and Ibrahima Konote on the club's shortlist, according to the transfer expert Fabrizio Romano. Romano reported via X that Houston, who has a €50 million release clause, is particularly keen on a move to the Spanish capital and is recently waiting for the club to take formal steps. Despite the interest from Real Madrid, Premier League sides Chelsea and Liverpool are also pushing hard to land the 19-year-old, with all 3 clubs prepared to trigger his release clause and are in talks with the players' representatives. And that is it on Global TV News Cycle. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen at Global TV NG. You can also download the Global TV Nigerian app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. I am Priscilla Obasi. Thank you for watching.